When Golly Gump went to the fair, he won first prize for yawning. Golly Gump was the best yawner for miles around. His yawn was wider and taller and louder than anyone else. When Golly Gump went home, Golly put his prize on the gate post and started swinging back and forth, yawning and yawning. As he was swinging, a fly flew by. Just at that moment, Golly yawned his first prize yawn, and I don't know how, I don't know why, but Golly Gump swallowed a fly. Now Golly was in trouble. He could feel that fly inside him buzzing around and around and around. He didn't know what to do. He jumped off that garden gate and he ran up the road yelling, but that didn't help. So he asked himself a question: what catches flies? And he told himself the answer. What do you think it is? Spiders, that's right. Then Golly knew just what to do. He opened his mouth wide and then wider, and Golly Gump swallowed the spider. When Golly, he was in a pickle, and he could feel that spider just tickling him inside, but that fly must have been way too fast for that spider, because he could still feel that fly flying around, buzzing around and around and around. Now Golly, he didn't like that one bit. He leaped up and ran down the road again, but that didn't help. He sat down and he began to think. He asked himself a question. What catches spiders? And he told himself the answer. Do you want to guess what he thought of? Birds, that's right. So Golly did what he had to do. It's the silliest thing I ever heard. Oh, but Golly Gump, he swallowed a bird. Poor Golly. He made things even worse. He could still feel that bird flapping inside, and he could feel that spider tickling him, and that fly was still buzzing around and around and around. Well, that made Golly really mad. He was so mad he didn't even have to ask himself a question. He knew what catches birds all right. Cats. So he knew what to do right away. Don't ask me how he managed that. Oh, but Golly Gump, he swallowed the cat. Oh boy, Golly was in big trouble now. He could hear that cat meowing inside and feel that bird flapping and that spider tickling with his long legs, and that fly was still buzzing around and around and around. You know, that's a lot of stuff going around in someone's stomach. Just then, a yellow dog came down the road. He stopped and he sniffed the tree. Oh goodness, can you guess what Golly did next? Old Golly acted like a hog and swallowed down that yellow hog. Then you could hear the noise. The dog was howling, and the cat was yowling, and the bird was flapping, and the spider was tickling, and that fly was still buzzing around and around and around. Now Golly, he just swallowed the very next thing that came down the road. Uh-oh. Do you know what it was? It was someone big. It was someone tall. It was the dog catcher, his net and all. Now Golly was in the worst trouble yet. Inside he heard the dog catcher yelling, and the dog howling, and the cat yowling, and the bird flapping, and the spider tickling, and that fly was still buzzing around and around and around. It felt like a big zoo inside. Golly thought until his brain was all worn out, but he couldn't think of anything else that would catch dog catchers. He was afraid he was going to have to walk around for the rest of his life with a zoo inside. Then he asked himself a question. What's really scary? Then he stood up and he yelled his loudest yell. If you don't all get out of there, I'm gonna swallow a grizzly bear. Well, that scared him. Golly opened wide and they all ran out. The dog catcher was yelling, and the dog was howling, and the cat was yowling, and the bird was flapping, and the spider was tickling, and that fly was still buzzing around and around. They all disappeared down the road in a cloud of dust, and Golly started for home. He felt so much better with all that company inside his stomach. Golly did learn one thing from all that fuss. He learned to cover his mouth when he yawned, and that's something to know. And that's the story of Golly Gump Swallowed a Fly.
Wonderful.